Batman vs Superman made a shit ton of money. It must be good. It's going to be Batman vs Superman vs Civil War. You could see where these movies are going based on the vision of these guys for the whole franchise. Feige wanted to remain authentic to these characters.
The origin of Steve Rogers, of Captain America, is inherently in World War II. So we decided we're going to make a 1940s adventure superhero movie.
His approach is simple. Make everything dark and gritty and violent.
You know, if there are like more than 4 or 5 lines and you start to notice, like, wait, these are 2 guys dressed up. One guy's dressed up like a bat and the other one has a big red S on his chest and they're being super serious about how mad they are at each other.
And now the Get away! Get back! 2. Conflict you could root for. A good film thrives on interesting conflict. Or, if the conflict is generic, how well you tell it. So how is the conflict between these 2 movies? One thing I find interesting about these movies is that the conflict is about these 2 guys, but in fact there's someone else behind the scenes. Civil War is essentially Iron Man and friends versus Captain America and friends. Civil War asks, should the superheroes be policed? Iron Man says yes, Captain America says no. One of the advantages of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that there are so many movies in the library. You could see where Iron Man is coming from if you watched previous movies. And the same goes for Cap. Iron Man's zero fucks given approach to superheroing has led to catastrophic results.
I'm sorry, I know you mean well. You just didn't think it through.
And as we saw in Iron Man, he wanted to make up for Stark Industries weapons being sold to terrorists.
I saw young Americans killed by the very weapons I created to defend them and protect them, that I had become part of a system that is comfortable with zero accountability.
Effective immediately, I am shutting down the weapons manufacturer division of Stark International.
So character-wise, we see that need for Iron Man to redeem himself. Meanwhile, Cap's experience with bigwigs meddling into things has led to disaster. He knows that any organization can be used for some other agenda.
Hydra's secret weapon.
Is there anything you can tell us about the Tesseract that we ought to know now?
You should have left it in the ocean.
Phase 2 is S.H.I.E.L.D. uses the cube to make weapons. I was wrong, Director. The world hasn't changed a bit.
This is Project Insight. 3 next-generation helicarriers synced to a network of targeting satellites. These new long-range precision guns can eliminate 1,000 hostiles a minute.
By holding a gun to everyone on Earth and calling it protection. This isn't freedom. This is fear.
Both of these characters have good reasons for their argument. In turn, the audience will also have a good reason to pick a side.
Tony Stark, Iron Man's side, just makes so much more sense in every conceivable way. No, you're talking about people with insane superpowers taking the law into their own hands and doing whatever they want. Like, why didn't?
It's an argument. I think I lean more towards the Captain America side. The non-valid point is the Tony Stark side, where it's like, okay, the UN will vote that you go fight this super monster. You're still gonna have collateral damage.
In Batman vs Superman, Batman dislikes Superman for destroying Metropolis, even though, as we see in the movie, a quick Google search will yield that Superman has actually saved people. At the very least, it seems that he's trying to make up for what he did. Superman dislikes Batman's vigilante approach, despite doing this in the end of Man of Steel.
I'm here to help, but it has to be on my own terms.
The conflict does not make sense. You cannot root for either of them. Batman can't take the moral high ground since he's casually killing people. Superman can't pretend to be the paladin here. Remember the terrorist that was holding Lois hostage? The human being that he smashed through the wall? Yeah, he'll be fine, don't worry. So which murderer will the audience root for? The vigilante who kills criminals indiscriminately? Or the vigilante that causes massive destruction, causing massive death indiscriminately? I said earlier that there are people pulling the strings. In the case of Civil War, we have Zemo. It appears he's a dick. He gets a call from his wife, telling him how much they love him, his son misses him. Then he turns off the phone. What a dick! He frames Bucky so that Bucky can be captured, which turns out to be a bigger plot. There are these 5 super soldiers, the same as Bucky. So it appears that Zemo wants these soldiers for himself. At the end of the movie, having manipulated events, he leads Captain America, Bucky, and Iron Man into the lair where the soldiers were. But the soldiers who are supposed to topple empires was killed. He then shows a video to Iron Man, and it reveals that Bucky killed Iron Man's parents. Zemo wants the Avengers to be destroyed, and his motivation can be understood. It was foreshadowed in the movie when the Black Lady got mad at Iron Man for causing the destruction at Sokovia, which leads to the death of her son. It's the same here. When Sokovia crashed, it destroyed Zemo's family. And that phone call he received was all he had of them. That's his motivation. You understand where he's coming from and why he wants to kill Iron Man and Captain America. In Batman vs. Superman, we have Lex Luthor. We know that he wants to kill Superman, but why?
After Jesse Eisenberg's performance as Lex Luthor, I think alcohol is required.
He's the only character I think I liked. Like, he was...
But why
weird.
did you like him?
He was like so weird, like...
You do not want to fight this guy!
Why did he want to kill Superman?
Mr. Bibb says Lex Luthor hates Superman because he is all good and all powerful, which Lex can't stand.
Where do you get that?
Where does he say that?
What in the movie informs this?
That's the real question.
Because Luthor is convinced that he's the angel. He talks about the demons coming from above, not below. He doesn't see himself as being all bad.
The build-up and the motivation of Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor creating Doomsday, I get why he made him.
Sure.
He essentially hates God.
Yeah.
And Superman is the closest representation of God, and he wants to destroy that, maybe for some self-accreditation, or maybe he wants to prove that he's better.
Yeah, he has lots of like diatribes about gods and their relation with humans and stuff. But so I guess it's just related to that, but it's all really, really vague, and it's just there to set up a giant orc monster at the end of the movie for everyone to fight.
Why is he creating a monster?
I don't know. Well, he's got to kill Superman. Even though...
Is that why he's creating a monster?
Even though his plan was apparently to get Batman to kill Superman.
Right.
So he's got to have a monster just in case Batman fails to kill Superman, then the monster can do it. But I guess if Batman does successfully kill Superman, which is his initial plan, then what do you do with the rampaging monster you just created that has nothing to counter it?
We don't know. We don't.